We're looking at your ideas today. We're going to be looking at patterns that are true among the ideas that you've been kind of tossing around in your head for a little bit of time. And then we're going to be looking more closely at the ideas and some different aspects of them. So the first thing we're going to do is I'd like you to revisit your My Great Ideas slide like you see in front of me right now. This is where you documented your passion, your idea, and then your belief about that passion. I'm also going to have you reflect on your passion badge. You made a passion badge very early on where you took things that you felt really excited about, areas of interest, and you created a piece of artwork. You've also been doing a lot of thinking that may or may not be down on paper or documented in this notebook. So I do want you to pay close attention to those ideas that you've just kind of kept in your brain as well. So using all of that and reflecting, I want you today to look at slide number 9. And this is a slide that asks you to write down what you notice about themes and patterns that stand out in the ideas that you've thought about and shared on your passion badge, any brainstorm lists you've done, and the My Great Ideas table that you made on slide number 8. I've already done this, and you know, there are things that I've noticed, but it's very helpful to put these things down on paper because it's going to give me a better sense of the type of talk that I want to create and share, and also the topic for which I'm going to use for my talk. So for me, as I got to thinking, I noticed that all of my ideas are things that I have personal experience with. And that's important because they aren't topics that I just think are interesting or important or relevant to the world or topics that I've learned about, but rather I have actual authentic experience. So I think what I'm going to end up choosing is probably something I have authentic experience with. Another thing that I noticed is that all of my ideas are focused around encouraging and growing children. So I think when I do come up with my final topic for my talk, it should probably be something that has to do with kids because that's where all of my passions and my interests lie. And like I said, I have personal experience with it. And I looked at my ideas from a different perspective too, and I asked myself, what is it that I want to accomplish with my talk? Do I want to explain something to my audience? Do I want to share about something? Do I want to persuade? What is it that I want to do? And if I looked at my ideas very carefully, I noticed I really feel called to persuade. So in all of my ideas, that element was there. So I decided to make sure that I wrote that down too, because all of that is going to be important as I go forward. So after you've done this very important reflective work, I'm going to have you dive into each one of your ideas on slide 10. And we have a table again to help us organize our thinking. In the left column, you'll notice you have a space for the idea that you think you could spread with your talk. And then there's a question, what specific personal story could you tell? What is it that you have experience with or something that could make it personal so that you could help relate to your audience? The next question asks you to think about if everybody on earth listened to your idea, how might it change the world? What impact might it have? And then I also want you to be thinking about, is your idea something that you are uniquely positioned to speak about? So for example, an environmental scientist may be a better person to give a talk on climate change, but only you could give a talk on how your experience hiking in the mountains with your grandmother shaped your thoughts on the environment. So we want to make sure that we are the only person that can give this very talk. And lastly, I want you to decide what your excitement level is. I want you to ask yourself, gosh, on a scale of 1 to 10, would I be really excited to work on and give this talk? Would I be the most amount excited? If that's true, it's a 10. If I feel kind of ho-hum about it, it would be okay, it would be fine, and I would be happy to do it. Maybe I'm a 5. If I don't have any interest at all in talking about it, then I would give it a 1. And then certainly there's some room for some other numbers in between. Here's my model that I'll show you. I took one of my ideas, and my first idea that I added to this dashboard is my idea of persuading educators to implement project-based learning into their instruction. And then I asked myself, well, gosh, if I was going to try to do that, what personal stories could I tell? And 3 personal stories came to mind. These were different projects that I arranged and facilitated with students over the years. Number 1 being Case for Our Place, which was the initiative for the Place Project. The next one was Operation Hillside, which was the renovation of our playground Hillside. And then the last one was a class newspaper that I did with my 3rd graders many years ago. I'm not sure, I don't have to decide which one I would want to integrate, and maybe it might even make sense for me to integrate all of them in for my talk, but I just thought I'd write those 3 down. The next question says, what impact might this idea have? And that's that question about, if I was to share this with people, what effect would it have? Well, I think that if I was to persuade educators to do this type of work with their students, then learners, those educators' learners, potentially would experience a voice in their work, choice in their work, and while they're participating in authentic learning. And as I wrote all of this out, I could just feel the excitement welling up in me, and I just know that I would love to speak about this on a stage. So I would do this work that you see in this row for each one of my ideas. My hope is that each of you would have between 2 and 5 ideas to put on your idea dashboard. So again, in review, the first thing you're going to do today is you're going to reflect. You're going to reflect on the themes and patterns that you find in your ideas so far. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to look a little more closely at each of these ideas, and you're going to complete your My Idea dashboard. If you have any questions, please reach out. You can email me, and you can also say, hey, Mrs. Walther, I'd love to just chat this out, and then we can do that too. All you need to do is let me know, and we will set up a Google Meet to do that. Okay? I cannot wait to hear about your ideas.